Hello and welcome to our 5-5 portal. So I'm so happy to be here with you. My name is Amanda Sophia, for those of you who don't know me. And I'd love to chat a little bit about this 5-5 portal, what the codes that are coming into this portal is, some rituals you can do, some tools to help you at these times of transformation. And then I'd love to go through an activation transmission meditation. Okay, my loves. So I just want to say welcome for being here. And before we really get into things, I think it's so important, right? Because it feels like on this path and journey of ascension that there's always this next kind of portal, right? For us to be on this journey and this ascension journey. And I really do feel that April was such a big month. And even March as well, right? Because we had the solar and lunar eclipse. We had that Venus retrograde over a 6-week period, as well as the Mercury retrograde, as well as the solar flares, as well as other things. We had the 4-4 portal and other things that happened. And it was such a expansive couple of months. And here we are now at another portal and more energy. And I just think that it is so vitally important for us just to just take a breath and be present and really be aware of the shifts and changes that happened over the last couple months. Because if we're always kind of running on this next kind of activation point or this next portal, we don't really get to properly integrate. So I really wanted to bring this to the forefront today to say, because the 5 is really about change. It's really about transformation and is the number of the divine feminine. And I've a lot more to say about that. But at this time of change, I think it's really, really important to pause and observe in this journey of self-reflection and self-observation and seeing these like inner shifts that happen in us and then see how they kind of manifest on the external. To sit with and go, well, what really shifted? How did I shift? Because it was such a rebirth. It was such a transformative time that it's really vital that we go, what shifted? How do I feel different? How am I looking at things differently? How do I feel differently about things? And has that manifested on things externally? In any of my relationships, in relationship with ourselves, within our work, within expansion that's come about, or things that you let go. So I'm going to really invite you over this 5-5 portal, which is so much a gateway, a portal of change, right? To really sit with what has shifted. Because if we look at the 5-5 portal, if we look at the date, the month, and the year, it actually comes to a 1. And oneness is really what the number 1 is about. Unity. It's about oneness. And I think that has to start within ourselves, right? For that wholeness. So, and you know, the journey of growth and evolution, like we really need to get comfortable with sitting with ourselves, and beyond sitting with ourselves, listening to ourselves and listening to that expansion. And I did this practice over the last week or two. And when I really, really sat with it, I was like, oh my gosh, look at the shifts that have happened. And look how I'm feeling differently. So I'm going to invite you to take that time to do that, because when we do that, it allows this whole next level of integration, of embodiment, you know, where we've just allowed that recoding to happen in our system. So today we're going to be bringing in more of these codes, right? So the first part is I really want to talk about just really listening to what is the change that you've experienced, what were the shifts that you've had. And what we're really looking at is the internal ones, no matter how subtle, because sometimes the really, really subtle ones are the most powerful, right? So sitting with those. The next thing that I really, really want to speak with, and of course this is really just pertaining to all of us on the Northern Hemisphere, because this is a time of, in Ireland, we call it, the Gaelic pronunciation is Bealtaine. You may hear it called Beltane. And And of course, for all the beloveds in the Southern Hemisphere, it's Samhain, which is directly across on the Celtic wheel. So for thousands of years, our ancestors have really known what this time of year is about. And it's when, and this is what this 5-5 portal is as well, it's when the veils are very thin to the other worlds. It's when the veils are very thin to our cosmic connection, to our galactic connection. Like everything is just more open, right? And more expansive. And when we're willing to really sit and allow and create that spaciousness, that's where a lot of the alchemy and magic and shifts and healings and transformation happens. So this time of Beltane, our ancestors have celebrated for thousands of years. And what we really do is we look to the land. So this is really, really important to our path, our ascension path, right? Because our ascension path is not about us just going upright, up into the cosmos, up into the higher realms. This is about us being fully connected and bringing that energy down and through. And a vitally important part of that is our connection with the land, with Mother Earth, with Gaia, right? This new Earth that we talk about, it isn't another location, it isn't a new place. It is us creating, co-creating together heaven on earth, right? Where we all have peace in our hearts and we live from this place of peace and love with each other, with our children, with our partners, with every interaction, with every animal, every plant, every person of humanity, right? That's what the new earth is about. So this time of Beltane, if we look to the land, what is the land teaching us at this time, right? Everything is so alive. The pulse of the land is so strong. The beauty, right, of the flowers and the vegetables and the herbs that are all blossoming. Like here in Ireland, all the hedgerows, the yellow gorse. I mean, it's just pure solar plexus energy, pure sovereign energy. The land is so alive and filled with sovereignty, right? And all the hawthorns are blossoming, all the blackthorns are blossoming. Like it's just flooded with just beauty and blossoming. And that's what we're being invited into. So we've gone from this really kind of watery time of the year over the winter solstice and Samhain and Imbolc, right? And even the spring equinox, it's like 1 foot in winter, 1 foot in summer. But now here we are. We're here at Beltane, and it's just really about that light. It's about the sun. It's about these solar codes that are coming in. And our ancestors for thousands of years have honored this time because they knew the veils were thin. But they also knew it was a time, and this 5-5 portal is very much so about that. It's just always this beautiful opportunity to see what parts of ourselves, the old patterns, the old programming, the old ways of being, society, our family, whoever put it on us, we start to really see the gaps and where they're showing up and where they're so outdated. They are not part of I am present day self, right? It is not part of that. And so the more that we can see that, and this 5-5 portal is really letting us see if there's any little cracks in the field, right? Where are they? And how can we rise up and see that and love that part of ourselves, so love and compassion. And with that love and compassion, allow that to heal. So this 5-5 portal really, really facilitates that. So when we look to the land and really bring it back, because we're in this energy of Beltane, of blossoming, of aliveness, and of sovereignty, right? And when I say sovereignty, I mean that full dominion of sovereignty, of power of who you are. Not this power, really out of balance power that we're seeing in the world right now. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about a power that comes from love, a power that comes from self-honoring and self-worth and loving humanity, a power that comes from peace and truth and healthy boundaries. And that's what we're talking about. And the land is modeling that, right? Because as we get to the summer solstice, it becomes even more expansive, right? That will be the 6-6 portal and between the 7-7 portal, right? But then when we get to Lunasa, which is going to be August, that 8-8 portal, it's going to be incredibly powerful. I do believe out of all the numerology portals, the 8-8 is Lionsgate is the biggest of them all, the most profound gateway of them all. But we're everything that we're doing now is kind of leading up to that. But by the end of August, by the autumn, right, the land is tired and it's overheated, and you can see things are drying out. So this time of year is sovereignty, is absolute sovereignty. So I invite you over these next couple of days to really, really harness this energy of listening to your soul, communing with your soul, your highest self, your heart, your body, communing with the land. And so one of the most beautiful Geltida traditions that I've been doing the last couple of mornings is the dew out in the grass, right? And just rolling out in that dew before sunrise. And if you're up after sunrise, do it then. You can roll out there naked, or you can just get it and you can just pat it on you wherever you want. And it really comes back to the ancient Gaelic mythology. And there's a place called Tirnano, which means the land of eternal youth. And the dew is meant to bring that energy of that. It's like the maiden, the mother, the crone, the goddess, the triple goddess, but the queen energy, really stepping into your queen energy, really stepping into your inner king energy. And if we look to the land as well, like especially here in Ireland, we've had just the perfect amount of sun, right, which is that divine masculine and all these incredible solar codes that are coming in. And we've had just the amount of rain, right, that beautiful divine feminine energy. So there's been this sacred marriage of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us, within the land. And I'm pointing inside because I'm looking at my window at just the beauty. And what is that comes from that creativity and fertility and aliveness and expansion and beauty. And that's really the energy that we can work with. So one of the rituals is going out in the morning to the dew. And then, of course, because this time is the fire energy, right? It's the fire time of year. And our ancestors used to do a lot of fire ceremonies, right? There was always a bonfire. And you know how it used to be. It was like we'd all sit around the fire and we'd share stories and share wisdom. And the aunts and the uncles and the grandparents and all the community would come together and sit around the fire and tell stories, right? But now people are so much doing things alone. And it's about coming back together. So if you can bring a couple of your beloveds together and the fire is beautiful, or you sit with the flame, or create some kind of ceremony. And what used to happen is they would step over the fire, because we know that the fire has the ability to transmute, to burn up energy. So I invite you, another ritual I invite you to is write down what it is you're ready to release. Old patterns, old beliefs, old thought forms, things that you are done with, they are not serving, and you still see them coming up, and you don't them. You really want to rise above that. You really want to fully integrate all parts of yourself. So those old ways don't have to show up anymore. So you can write them out and place them into the fire, because the fire is alchemic. It's really alchemic. So you can sit at your altar with a candle, or you can light the fire pit outside. Our ancestors used to even bring the cattle and the animals over the flames as a way of removing the inauspicious energy, right? So we can really work with these ancient traditions, bring the ancient in. And what is it we're talking about? We talk about the new earth. We're really talking about the ancient earth, the ancient ways of being, the original earth codes. That's what we're really talking about. So going back to these beautiful ways of being are so powerful. So just to talk, and then if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, you're at Samhain, which the veils are thin. It's just the dark time of the year. It's the deep communion with the ancestors. And it is about going into the shadow, right? So it's a slightly different energy, but it still is the same support around just stepping into your most truest, beautiful, connected version of you, basically. Right? And so this 5-5 portal, as I said, comes to a 1, which is oneness, which is wholeness, which is unity, right? And that's ultimately what our new earth is about. Well, we all know we're interconnected. We all know that we're one, that we are all brothers and sisters, and that we're all here together. We're all guiding each other home to that. The number 5 is very much so about change and about transformation. So as you sit with your soul, as you sit with yourself over this time, this portal goes for a couple of days before the 5th of May and a few days after. So you have this beautiful window all the way pretty much from the 3rd to the 8th to work with this energy, to sit with this energy, to sit with these parts of yourselves and just see where there's gaps there. 5 is allowing change that wants to happen. So maybe everything that went on throughout March and April has brought about change and has brought about courage to make the change, or just this deep knowing in your soul that it's time to make the change, to step more deeply into what it is you need to step away from what it is you need to. You would know what that is, right? Because you're the one that has been having that deep communion, deep communing. So there's some rituals that I would suggest: sitting with the fire element, writing out what that is, burning that, working with the flame, working with the dew. And then the last one, which is you might know it more as May Day, we call it Yaltana. And my children and I were doing this. I have a hawthorn tree, well, a few of them in my garden, but it doesn't matter what tree it is, or it can even just be your front door. But in order to honor your ancestors and in order to honor the season ahead and what you're ready to step into, you can decorate your door or a tree with beautiful ribbons and what it is that is your intention for this new season ahead, right? So the children and I decorated the hawthorn tree. And if it's not like eco-sustainable, we'll just leave it on for a couple of days. We tied it very gently on the tree. But each of the colors of the ribbons represented a part in our lives. So everybody had their own personal intentions. We had our own intentions for our family. And then we had our global humanity intentions. And we just weave them through the tree. And then, it's there, and it's that constant invitation for us. You can decorate your door, your front door, and it's a way of inviting in those energies. And to have rituals, it's such a beautiful invitation, because I would also suggest over the next few days, if this transmission that we do next is honoring and you resonate with it, I suggest that you do it now for the next few days, or do it all the way until the next portal. For as long as it resonates, you'll know when you're done with it. So meditating and breath work to really stay in your center and to really stay as a clear vessel. But what I love about some of the rituals is, as well, is it's a really internal process. But in some ways, these rituals connect us more deeply with ancient ways, with our ancestors and another part of ourselves, right? Because these festivals, these Beltane festivals, were a time where we really let inhibitions go, right? Where we allowed our sexual side be free. These festivals, there was a lot of conception happening, a lot of sacred unions, a lot of marriage, it was a time, and they realized this, our ancestors knew this, that, right, if we're always in this, doing everything the right way, good girl, good boy, kind of thing, that where does that raw truth of who we are, our true expression, our primal expression, what happens with that? Where is the outlet for that? So for me, it's a daily thing, and I have my own practices that I work with it within my own energy, because our own sensual energy, our own sexual energy is what we were talking about. It's where a lot of that sovereignty lies, right? So this can be your own practices with yourself. It doesn't have to be with somebody else. So really working with your own energy, a lot of our sovereignty and, of course, co-creation and fertility comes from allowing these energies. And if we look to the land, it's wild and free, and the flowers are, there's yonic and phallic, and and it's merging, and they're both represented in the plant. So that is our sacred union within ourselves. So that's lots of beautiful practices. I invite you to drink lots of water over the next couple of days. If you can be in a body of water, if you can be in the sea, a river, a stream, or a well. I've been doing all of these for the last couple of days, or rolling around in the dew. It's always, or even a bath with some salt, is so beautiful for just keep allowing all that energy that wants to move through, and it helps kind of clear away the old. So my loves, next of all, I would love for us to go into our transmission. And I would love to start with some breath work. And of course, because we're talking about the fire element and the fire time of year, I would love for us to work with the fire and the breath, like some pranayama first. So I'm going to invite you, if you want, you can do an upside down triangle and bring your hand down to your lower, for the male or female, just bring it down to the lower chakra energy, right, with inverted triangle. Or you can kind of bring your hands up, and we're going to do the fire breath. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our breath, just put our breath all the way down our lower belly. And what we want is very quick inhales and exhales up and through the nose. So this is a very, very cleansing breath. That it clears out your field, clears out your energy body, and it actually helps digestion, and it really kind of opens up those lower chakras, right? We want that open and down, we want that flowing. So we're going to work with all that, but I'd like to open with the pranayama. So whether you want your hands up here, and I'm going to invite you, and we're going to try to do 108 rounds. I'm going to start off faster, and then we'll slow down towards the end. It doesn't have to be exactly 108. We'll just go. So whenever you're ready, it's just going to be. So I'm going to talk and invite you to carry on with that breath. If you need to clear your nose or anything, just keep that breath going in your lower belly. Feel that clearing, feels it just kind of opens up all your channels. Just allow that flow, I'm going to invite you to keep doing that. And I'm just going to start to open our sacred space. Well, it's been open since even before we got on together and this whole time. But just as you carry on with the breath at the pace that feels good, try keep it quite speedy. I'm just going to so just grounding your energy down. Sending your energy down from your heart deep down into the heart of Mother Earth. So feel your heart. Her heart and your heart become one. Okay, I'm going to invite you to slow down your breath. And just allow the breaths to be slower and longer. Beautiful. And then exhaling your breath all the way out. Exhaling your breath out. Beautiful. And then allow your breath to come back to its normal rhythm. I'm still inviting you to have your breath really deep and full. Really, really deep and full. So just feeling that deep resonance and connection with Mother Earth. This beautiful, beautiful divine connection, feeling her nourishment, feeling her passion, feeling her beauty and her bounty and her nourishment, her aliveness, her own sacred union between Mother Earth and Father Sky. From your heart, feeling your connection with your source of origin, your source code. Feeling your connection with your source of origin. So feeling now how you are connected above and below. And just pulling in our highest council, and just really feeling this Lemurian energy really present here with us. And the presence of our ancestors, those that choose to be here absolutely from a heavenly realm for the highest good. Evoking our highest council. That your highest self, feeling the presence of your highest self. And we just open up the space to bring in these activation codes, these light codes, and just to say that every single one of you that is here because you have your own unique codes to bring in. So if there is light language or sounds or song or anything that wants to come through you, or movements, just allow, or body movements, just allow that. Whatever wants to come through, allow it. If you feel emotional, that is totally fine. Allow the tears to come through, allow the giggles, the laughter. It feels like a lot of the earth energies are here with us. The fairy beings, the light beings, the earth dragons. Just feeling that expansion at your heart, feeling that opening at your solar plexus. The solar code, just feeling that beautiful activation of your own full dominion of sovereignty. Feeling the presence, your I am presence, your inner child, that fully beautiful, integrated inner child that is fully present, and know that she or he is loved unconditionally and will never be abandoned, that will always be held, that will always be honored, that will always be safe. Because you do that, my love. You do that. And feel this full integration of your soul, your highest self, your oversoul. Your body, emotional, mental, and energetic. I invite you to bring your left hand over your heart and your right hand at your solar plexus. And it's just this beautiful, just seeing all these beautiful golden codes coming in here. To facilitate you on your path of ascension, your path of awakening, your path of self-realization, your path of self-love, your path of wholeness. And you already are all of that. You already are all of that, beloved. But you already know that. But allow yourself to know it on the deepest level of who you are. Of who you are, my love. Taking a deep inhale and exhale. Feeling all those beautiful codes flowing through you and down you, this beautiful white golden light, this iridescent light, and of course this beautiful white diamond light encompasses all the colors of the rainbow, all the different codes, all the different beautiful rays and flames. Taking another deep inhale and exhale, and taking a moment to set your intention for what you would like to receive, what would you like to release, what would you like to step into, how you wish to feel. And this deep knowing that it already is, and you are divine. There's no one else in the world like you. No one else has the same gifts, brings in the same codes, that expresses in the way you do, that creates in the way that you. Your presence is so beautiful and so vital. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your light. Thank you for sharing your wisdom in our collective circle today. So grateful. Thank you, my loves. I'd like for us just to close our sacred space here. So with your hand on your heart, I do mo eto yo korio mo iti aria getoria mo utuyo moria tuyo mo iti aria mo. Giving deep thanks to all of our ancestors, our highest council, the fairy beings, the earth energies, Mother Earth, Mother Sky, all of the presence of all of the beautiful guides and goddesses, all the presence of light, all the healing that's already happened, all the beautiful energies that have already come through. We give deep, deep thanks. So we'd like to close our sacred space now in the energy of love, peace, consciousness, kindness in the world. So thank you for being here, my loves. Wonderful to share sacred space with you. We gather here on all the portals, so would love to have you join, and just sending so much love your way. Thank you, my loves.